There is a white powder that costs $2 at any hardware store. It reflects 98% of incoming sunlight. It generates more cooling output than the air conditioning unit running in your home right now. Purdue University measured this in a peer-reviewed study. The Guinness Book of World Records certified it as the most reflective surface ever created. Ancient Greek architects used the same fundamental material to keep stone buildings at 72 degrees during 95-degree summers without a single mechanical system. Minoan builders on Crete were doing this in 1500 BC. Every whitewashed village along the Mediterranean coastline is still doing it today. Then, the $200 billion global paint industry and the $150 billion air conditioning industry looked at a $7 bag of powder that makes both of them unnecessary, and they made a decision that has cost American homeowners hundreds of billions of dollars in electricity bills over the past century. They did not ban the powder. They did not discredit the science. They simply never mentioned it, and then they lobbied homeowner associations across dozens of states to prohibit the white and highly reflective roofing surfaces that would make it work best, mandating instead the dark earth tones and gray shingles that absorb maximum solar heat and mathematically guarantee that you need an air conditioner. This is the story of the cooling technology that the ancient world discovered, that Purdue University proved outperforms modern air conditioning per square foot of application, and that a combined $300 billion industry has spent decades ensuring you would never reach for before calling an HVAC contractor. Welcome to Forbidden Camping. If these stories matter to you, the subscribe button and the bell are the best way to make sure this knowledge survives. This is where we open the vaults the industry welded shut. To understand how a powder dissolves the need for air conditioning, you need to understand something that has been true since the first building was constructed under a hot sun. Every surface absorbs solar radiation proportionally to its color. Dark surfaces absorb the vast majority of incoming solar energy and convert it immediately to heat. White surfaces reflect the vast majority of incoming solar energy back into the atmosphere before it ever becomes thermal load on the structure beneath. This is not a discovery. It is basic physics that every civilization that ever built in a hot climate understood instinctively. The Minoans on Crete in 1500 BC quarried local limestone, burned it to produce calcium oxide, mixed it with water to create calcium hydroxide, and plastered every exterior surface of every structure in their settlements with the resulting white coating. Dark volcanic stone under the Mediterranean sun functions like the surface of a baking sheet. The same stone coated in white lime maintains interior temperatures at livable levels through the same physics that make a white car cooler to the touch than a black car in the same parking lot on the same afternoon. Interior temperatures in whitewashed Minoan structures held at approximately 72 degrees Fahrenheit when outdoor temperatures reached 95. No electricity, no mechanical system, no monthly bill. A powder made from local rock and water. The technique propagated across every hot climate civilization that encountered it. Santorini, Mykonos, Hydra. The whitewashed island villages of the Cyclades are not an aesthetic tradition. They are an ancient thermal engineering solution still operating correctly after 3,000 years. Morocco, southern Spain, the villages of Andalusia, the hilltop towns of southern Italy, every one of these architectural traditions arrived at the same material through the same physics operating on the same problem. In 1973, a researcher at Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory painted a flat rooftop with powdered limestone mixed with water, the same formula Greek grandmothers had been applying every spring for 3,000 years. The results were measured and documented. The white-coated roof surface registered 40 degrees Fahrenheit cooler than an identical dark roof tested simultaneously in identical conditions. Interior building temperatures fell by 8 degrees. The structure required no air conditioning through the entire test period. A $14 bag of hydrated lime from any hardware store outperformed a $5,000 air conditioning system on a measured, documented, published basis. Before I continue, I need to stop and tell you something important. This video is only the surface of what the industry has hidden from you. I spent months collecting everything they buried into one place. Window film technology that NASA proved in 1972 blocks 80% of solar heat gain, and that the General Services Administration has required for every federal building for 30 consecutive years. Rat colony elimination using eugenol from cloves for under $5 that also severs pheromone recruitment trails. Kitchen cabinet restoration chemistry that professional painters use on every job and never mention to the homeowner. Drain cleaning chemistry that eliminates every household clog for under $1. All of it is inside the complete forbidden camping vault. Over 10 guides in one place, no filler, every page built for immediate action. The link is in the description right now, but stay here, because what Professor Ruan measured at Purdue in 2021 is the data that made the paint industry go quiet. In 2021, Professor Xiulin Ruan and his research team at Purdue University published the results of a paint formulation project that had taken 6 years to complete. The goal was to create the most reflective paint surface achievable using commercially manufacturable materials. The result was a barium sulfate-based white paint formulation with a solar reflectance of 98.1%. Standard commercial white paint reflects a maximum of approximately 80 to 85% of incoming solar radiation. The Purdue formulation exceeded that by a margin that produced physically measurable temperature effects. Surfaces coated with the Purdue formulation did not merely stay cool in direct sunlight. They measured cooler than the ambient air temperature around them. During daytime testing, coated surfaces registered 8 degrees Fahrenheit below ambient air temperature. At night, the radiative cooling effect produced temperatures 19 degrees below ambient. Ruan calculated that applying this formulation to 1,000 square feet of roofing surface produces a continuous cooling output of approximately 10 kilowatts. The average American home central air conditioning system operates at between 10 and 18 kilowatts of cooling capacity. A coat of paint on a standard residential roof produces cooling output comparable to the entire mechanical air conditioning system of the same house, without a single watt of electrical consumption. The Guinness Book of World Records certified the Purdue formulation as the whitest and most reflective surface ever created by human technology. The study was peer-reviewed. CNN covered it. The Smithsonian covered it. Every major science publication in the world reported on it. The cooling implications for residential buildings were explicit in the research paper itself. And then almost nothing changed. The global paint industry generates over $200 billion in annual revenue. The global HVAC industry generates over $150 billion per year. The business model of the paint industry depends on products that degrade and require reapplication on a 5 to 7 year schedule. The business model of the HVAC industry depends on equipment installation, annual maintenance contracts, filter replacement, and electricity consumption billing. A lime-based coating that costs $14 to apply and eliminates the thermal load that drives air conditioning demand threatens both revenue streams simultaneously. You cannot patent calcium hydroxide. It is a compound produced by burning limestone, a process performed by human beings for at least 10,000 years. You cannot trademark hydrated lime. You cannot create a subscription service around a powder sold by the 50-pound bag at every hardware store for $7 to $14. And what cannot be owned or licensed on a recurring basis will never appear in the marketing budget of any industry that depends on your bill remaining at its current level.